The atmosphere at John F. Kennedy International Airport on August 19, 2026, transcended the typical bustle of a New York summer. On the private terminal tarmac, the air was thick with a specific kind of electricity, a blend of media frenzy and national fervor. While reporters checked their microphones and camera operators adjusted their focus, the perimeter was lined with fans who had traveled from across the tri-state area and beyond. They carried the blue, red, and yellow of the Philippine flag, their chants of Alex Eala cutting through the ambient roar of jet engines. This was not merely the arrival of a professional athlete, it was the arrival of a phenomenon. As the 21-year-old stepped off a private jet into the New York sun, the message was unmistakable. The landscape of women's tennis was shifting, and the U.S. Open was about to become the epicenter of that change. Alex Eala did not arrive in New York by chance or by luck. She arrived as a seasoned competitor who had spent the preceding months dismantling the hierarchy of the WTA Tour. The young woman from Quezon City was no longer the promising junior who had once dominated the headlines in Southeast Asia. She was now a global star coming off a stretch of tennis that had redefined her career. Her rise to the upper echelons of the sport was built on a foundation of grit, beginning when she first picked up a racket at the age of 4. That early spark in the Philippines led her to the prestigious Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca at the age of 13, a move that required immense sacrifice, but provided the tactical and physical hardening necessary to compete on the biggest stages in the world. The momentum fueling the excitement at JFK was rooted in her recent historic performances. The tennis world began to truly take notice during her breakthrough in Washington. It was there that Eala displayed a level of poise that belied her age, navigating a difficult draw to capture the singles title. This wasn't just another trophy, it was the first time a Filipino player had ever secured a WTA singles title at that level. That victory served as a definitive statement. Alex Eala had arrived, and she was capable of winning big. However, if Washington was the introduction, Wimbledon was the coronation. On the hallowed lawns of the All England Club, Eala achieved what many veterans spend a lifetime chasing. Under the intense pressure of center court, she faced the defending champion, Eala Aryna. In a performance characterized by tactical brilliance and unshakable confidence, Eala pulled off the upset of the tournament, defeating the world's top player and advancing to the 4th round. After that match, the conversation surrounding Eala shifted. The media stopped asking if she could compete with the best in the world and began asking just how high her ceiling actually was. By the time she touched down in New York, she was carrying a career-high ranking of 28, with the top 20 well within her reach. As Eala descended the stairs of the jet on that August afternoon, her presence was magnetic. She was dressed in her Nike Court US Open kit, a bold blue design that felt modern and perfectly suited for the vibrant energy of New York City. Every move she made was documented by a phalanx of cameras, but the script of the afternoon took an unexpected turn. A black SUV pulled onto the tarmac, drawing the attention of the assembled media. Out of the vehicle stepped Aryna Sabalenka, one of the most dominant and established forces in women's tennis today. The meeting between the two players was a poignant moment of sporting theater. Sabalenka, a Grand Slam champion who has mastered the art of playing under the suffocating pressure of New York, was there to personally welcome the rising star. The two shared a warm hug and a few words, a scene that was quickly shared across social media platforms globally. For Filipino fans, this was a moment of immense validation, seeing Eala, their homegrown hero, standing on equal footing with a powerhouse like Sabalenka symbolized the new era of the sport. It represented a collision of generations, the established elite meeting the vanguard of a new wave of talent. Sabalenka knows better than anyone what the lights of Flushing Meadows demand, and her presence suggested a level of mutual respect that Eala has earned through blood, sweat, and results. The journey from the courts of Quezon City to the private terminals of New York is a narrative of relentless progression. Eala's success is not just measured in titles, but in the experience she has gathered along the way. Part of her maturation process involved sharing the court with legends, most notably her time playing doubles alongside Venus Williams. Eala has often reflected on that experience, calling it a highlight of her professional life. Playing with a legend like Williams provided her with an education in professional conduct and high-stakes management that no practice session could replicate. Those lessons were evident throughout the summer hardcourt season. Following her triumph in Washington, Eala took her momentum north to the Canadian Open in Toronto and then to Cincinnati. In every city, the phenomenon known as Eala Mania followed. Filipino communities turned out in droves, transforming tennis stadiums into sea of flags and rhythmic chants. Every match felt like a home game, regardless of the continent. Even in her losses, such as her hard-fought battle against Belinda Bencic in Toronto, Eala showed that her level was consistent. She was no longer a dangerous floater in the draw, she was a marked woman, a player whom the top seeds now feared meeting in the early rounds. Now, the focus turns to Flushing Meadows. The US Open is a different beast entirely. It is the loudest, most boisterous, and perhaps most demanding of the 4 Grand Slams. The transition from the relatively quiet airport greeting to the deafening roar of Arthur Ashe Stadium is a hurdle that has broken many rising stars. For Eala, the challenge is to maintain the same calm she showed at Wimbledon while navigating the weight of a nation's expectations. She enters the tournament with the momentum of her recent wins and the tactical knowledge gained from her deep runs in Washington and the UK. The significance of Eala's presence in New York extends beyond the box scores. She has become a unifying figure for the global Filipino diaspora, a source of pride that connects fans from Manila to Manhattan. Her story, one of starting at age 4, moving across the world at 13, and eventually beating the world number 1, resonates with anyone who has ever pursued a distant dream. As she prepares to take the court in New York, she is no longer just playing for herself or for ranking points. She is playing for a legacy. The tennis world is watching closely to see if Eala can translate her current confidence into another deep run at a Grand Slam. The draw is packed with champions and the pressure will be at an all-time high. But as the cameras caught her smiling alongside Sabalenka on that JFK tarmac, it was clear that Eala is not intimidated by the spotlight. She has spent her entire life preparing for this stage. From the Rafa Nadal Academy to the center court of Wimbledon, she has proven that she belongs. The US Open is not just another tournament on her calendar. It is the next chapter in a story that is already inspiring millions. As the sun set over New York on the day of her arrival, the anticipation only grew. The flags were folded for the evening, but the chants remained in the air. The world knows her name, her peers respect her game, and her fans believe in her potential. Eala has arrived in New York, and the US Open, and the sport of tennis itself, may never be the same. The stage is set, the lights are ready, and for the young star from the Philippines, the real work is just beginning. Everyone is waiting to see just how far this rising champion can go.